All right, welcome back, everyone. Apologies for the delay. Thankfully, it wasn't a terribly long one, but we're going to be jumping straight into our first map here, and it is going to be Mirage Bait's pick. Freddy, what are we expecting here? We didn't get too much time to talk about the maps in particular. Oh, it seems like we may have lost Freddy momentarily. We'll try and get him back as quickly as possible. But here we go. Let's jump straight into our first map. And
Okay, I think I'm back now.
There we go. There we go.
You could hear me, but the stream couldn't. How strange. Okay, yeah, Mirage, great for Bait, Eternal Fire. They lost it yesterday against Aurora, and Wox excited that it was because he was ill. Have they reevaluated themselves? Have they regenerated in that day? Yes, this is a great start to the pistol round. Bait, they walk into the lion's den, and they do not come out the other side.
A little bit obscene to get a 4K there with the dualies like that, but I mean, I love to see it. I'm a big fan of the dualies. Two guns are better than one, as they say. So it's some beautiful work there to kick that off, and of course without that bomb plant, well, we know what that means. Kind of as to be expected for our first round in a way. I think that, you know, we didn't really get to go into prediction, but I think we both kind of feel on paper Eternal Fire should be the one that that comes out on top of this one.
They should. But I really want Bait to win. Like, I'd love to see Bait at an IEM Rio. I think that would be massive for them. Like, they're a team where I've watched them so much online, and they are legitimately very good. Like, people shouldn't sleep on them. And I hope that they can show that performance today. Like, you know, they qualified by beating teams like Monty, Sashi, Amcal. Those are some serious oppositions to beat, and it's kind of exactly what I was talking about, right? Of like, they're not playing against like these low random tier 2 teams, but they're playing as the best teams in tier 1.5, and only really being bested by the likes of Sangao, for instance, who, as if you keep up, they have been on a very good form. And I think the only game I've seen recently for Bait that made me very question was their loss to Permitter. But that was one time, and I don't think it was like, you know, that shouldn't be too much of a concern.
Yeah. And that round, of course, to be expected. One kill to come through from Bait. Not going to make the biggest difference in the world. A couple of kills with the MP9 though, so very happy to have that little bit of extra bank, especially if they do end up losing this particular round. Bait are going to be quite happy with that extra little bit of cash. But of course, it's a buy-up here. They've got a lot of firepower to work with. So those first two rounds, pistols can, of course, create a massive snowball effect. But if Bait can stop it in its tracks here, then it's a good opportunity to turn things back around. We start things with some heavy mid-presence, but I love this deep push from Wicadia. Spam through the smoke for one, but he's instantly traded.
Look how aggressive Woxig is in middle. He does not care whatsoever, but as soon as now they get this man advantage, they realize they're going to back out. There is Alex still remaining in top middle, but Bait, they've lost the early interactions. They've lost out on this map control. And with 1:15 on the clock, bomb shall be picked up, and they're going to have to try and redirect themselves.
I like the fact that they're taking this time to reset, right? You're not kind of pulling the trigger, getting, you know, a little out of control because you've lost your two players so early on, giving yourself a moment to try to restabilize. It is a little unfortunate. They are pushing towards the more heavily stacked site here. They've got very limited utility to work with, so there you go. Without really having anything to work off of, instantly gets that opener there. And it's just going to continue to just fall apart. Alex, last one left alive here to try desperately to cling back and hold it in onto their control. Oh my, that was horrific. A great little HE straight to the face. And he is now faceless.
Hello.
We are not though. Hello, we have faces.
Hello.
Yeah,
I think we're all good.
That's been 3 rounds.
Yeah, that's been 3 rounds, and I think it's a really good first. Going around from Eternal Fire, like, they pretty much everything goes exactly to their plan. They have the early default in middle. They do very well at not allowing Bait to have any space whatsoever, and I think Eternal Fire have just conditioned very early on in this first gun round, like, we are not going to give you any respect. We're going to be playing, like, you know, we are going to be playing the Counter-Strike that we can, and we're going to play our game, and you're going to have to try counteract that. Right now, missed utility in middle, so Eternal Fire have all the information in the world. They've also got perfect util set up over for B. It's all dropped perfectly. Nades and Molotovs dissect Essential from the rest of his team, so he jumps out by himself, and these Tech 9s, they are walking once again into that aforementioned meat grinder, and again, they will not be able to come through.
This is such a great trap setup as well. Like, you don't really expect too much to come out of this round. You really do expect it to kind of go this way. But still, Eternal Fire playing that very smart, really trying to bait them out a little bit, throwing out a little bit of that util. A beautiful crossfire, not one of those exact kind of like 180 degree exactly across from each other type vibes. You got like a little bit of a kind of 90-degree angle going on. So it's really difficult to try to counter that. And of course, you got the MP9 close up for that, close range burst, but then you've got the rifle a little bit further back to clean up where necessary. They play off of each other perfectly, and I mean the pistols just get absolutely outgunned. Exactly what you expect to happen here. Not great of a start for Bait, however, taking a timeout here. It's a good time to do so. You've got a few of them, and you know what? You have them, you get them for free, use them when you can. We're back onto a gun round now, and this is where we need to start seeing some of those adaptations.
I think this actually is a really good time to take a tactical pause. Like, it's only been 4 rounds, but, you know, pistol, who cares? Anti-eco, who cares? But it's just the fact that, like, your first gun round and your force bite have had no traction whatsoever. Like, we've yet to see Bait come alive on the server. This now has to be their time. Double or Maja, is that real? Is Maja solo B with an AWP? I love it. And in the meantime, Woxic actually doing a very similar play to what we saw from Wicadia, that he's jumping into short, this AWP, looking to get aggressive, looking to get feisty, does claim a frag, but it does come at the cost of Santara as Maja, the IGL, double AWPing. Sure, you know what? They would never have expected him to be in apartments when the other AWP is also on shorts.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I mean, all that work that gets done is traded out very quickly here. Both AWPs still on the board, but should this bomb get planted, AWPs in a retake can be so difficult to get the full value out of. And now Eternal Fire, with only 3 players left, have to massively fan out. They have fairly limited info and fairly limited control here. They should be aware that A is relatively free and clear, but with Calyx having been so pushed up, there is always a possibility that there's someone hiding out in Palace, and Bait are playing this really well. Wait for that information starve, wait for them to get a little bit paranoid, and now they can start pushing back towards a relatively free B site. But if they take too long, there you go. Maja, he's clocked it. He's aware there's every possibility that they could decide to regress to B.
This round pins on Maja hitting at least that first shot with the AWP. Surviving, getting a second, ideal. He's going to be receiving contact momentarily. He's checking between apartments and shorts. He's going to be finding contact in both of those areas. 15 seconds, there it is. Shot nailed. Molotov and Smoke trying to give him as much time as possible, but Headtrick does not care. Finally, a winning situation now for Bait as the bomb gets planted and Calyx and Woxic vying for a retake.
And it's that AWP retake as well. It's not ideal by any measure. This shot, it connects. Beautifully played there to work along the shelves. 2 versus 1. Headtrick just has to buy a little bit of time here. Just hold the line. These last 2 players coming from the exact same direction. He doesn't know that. He only has confirmation on where one of those players is. There's a good chance that he's behind the half wall. And yes, he's caught out. He's taken down. And with kit in hand, it's another round for Eternal Fire.
Which is actually a really good retake from Eternal Fire. I don't hate the fact that Alex was playing that aggressed in market, because it is, you know, that can seriously catch off people who are being lackadaisically rotating, trying to come in a little bit too fast. The issue is that is the reason why it's the round over, because Bait, they play the 2 versus 2 super individually, and Eternal Fire, they just played the buddy system. It worked out perfectly, and even though they were consistently losing control of middle in the early game, they're still able to win out in the later stages. Bait back on the rifles though because of the bomb plants.
But absolutely on a knife's edge here in terms of the economy that they still have. So Gonna be a relatively important one for them to come out on top of. Oh, swings just a little bit too early. Woxic, there's no way. 3 consecutive shots. He doesn't get punished. He'll make it a 4th. One more to make it that AWP ace on the A site. They just peek him one by one. And even the flash wasn't enough to deter him. And somehow Asenthal, so much to do here. I think the only realistic option is to save, try and hold on to this weapon.
I mean, that's kind of like the easiest round for Woxic he's ever going to get. The first flash, I think, was more of a lamp flash. It wasn't something that was going to be blinding a player deep CT. And Woxic, he never gets forced off that angle, and you can't give him that opportunity. He's an AWPer that we know can succeed consistently. Like, that's one of the definitely redeeming factors for Eternal Fire, is just how good Woxic has been while on this squad. And yeah, I mean, I think he said he was a bit ill yesterday at LAN, but today he definitely isn't. Today he's in very good form, in very good spirits. And Bait, this is a very unideal start to their map pick. 6-0 on the T side, or 0-6 on the T side, and they have only a handful of kills between them all.
And this was their map pick. That's, I mean, a lot of people don't read too much into that, and I do understand why. When you're playing at the highest levels, you need to be pretty well practiced on just about every map. But there is something about your map pick that you kind of expect it to be at least a little bit more contested. And this has just been a little bit of a wash for the first few rounds. And unfortunately, I mentioned it, knife's edge economically. Now, you've got that one hero AK saved from the previous round. They are going to buy into a Galil to put a little bit more robustness into their firepower. Scant utility, so very little to use here. And they're going to have to do something miraculous, because Eternal Fire just have... There's no signs of breaks here.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued at the double AWP that was bought like first round. I don't know, that was just really... I'm just so interested to see, like, was that, like, it was, yeah, sure, it's like 4th round they had double AWPs, and then now they're like, okay, back to the rifles. But look, when you've got 4 AKs and an AWP, you know it's a good CT side. But Bait, we've got a hero AK, well, no, sorry, this is the saved AK on Ascenthial. Alex has bought quite a lot with that Galil, so there is a bit of investment in this round. In mid, a lovely pop flash. Xantares, he gets set up perfectly. Wicadia, a lumbered spray, but still connects. And Bait playing a slow default, trying to take mid control late, and they're not even able to converge and take any space.
I just kind of back to what you were saying about that double AWP thing. I feel like there's a element of like high risk, high reward. So you get that out really early. You absolutely decimate their economy early on in the half. And then you make it almost impossible for them to recover. Cool, job's done. We don't need to do that ever again. It's risky, right? I mean, if that could have gone absolutely horrifically, but it works out really well for them. Unfortunately, this round hasn't gone as well for Bait themselves. Headtrick now has managed to pick up an AK. Try and get a little bit of damage done here, but not even a single kill to take home at the end of that round. 7 rounds back to back for Eternal Fire. But it's starting to feel like they need a miracle at this point.
It's not looking great, is it? And I think, like, this is your map pick. Eternal Fire have never really been that great on Mirage. Their, like, results are honestly not amazing. But right now, they're playing amazing Counter-Strike. And when Xantares gets set up that well, like, what more do you want? You've got Woxic 10-0 while also setting up. And constantly, Eternal Fire are not being punished with the plays they're making in middle. You can see that Xantares just, he's always jumping towards short. But they're finally over-aggression from Eternal Fire. And Bait, 2 opening kills very early on in middle.
Suddenly this looks like a round that they can steal away, finally punishing that aggression from Eternal Fire, finally making them uncomfortable and putting them on the back foot. But if there's anything that we know Eternal Fire can do, it's adapt. So now things slow down a little bit. Bait not willing just yet to overcommit to anything. Bomb slowly making its way over towards that A side, but they've got some very good control in mid, so they should be able to hear if there's any real movement towards the CT spawn, and they'll of course see if anyone starts to push in towards middle, start to take this space down towards the A side. Oh, Woxic, no ways! Oh, you had a two-person lead and you've let it slip away. Calyx able to get two without being punished at all, and now we'll get traded out. 2 versus 2, and the site is relatively open. This flank could be everything.
Woxic, I like how he just stays alive. He doesn't over-aggress. He doesn't try to go for any more frags. He understands this. IGL is coming in from ramp, but NPL doing God's work in this 2 versus 3, actually putting it back in favor for the Ukrainian side. Imagine now, coming from ramp. I don't think they know, but he's made noise. He's made a step. They hear him, but he still succeeds on that first frag. No idea where Essential is, and he's running out of time. He thinks jungle's probably clear because I've already killed one player there. Maybe anticipating someone top connector, but finally, Bait get a round on the board.
And that was off the back of a really good adaptation from them. And the thing is, there's been a lot of aggression from Eternal Fire in mid, and there's been attempts from Bait to shut that down, but they're very consistently on the back end somehow. They just have been kind of overrun so consistently. It's the first time that they've managed to get that advantage in their hands, and I like that they kind of slowed things down a bit as well. Again, you don't get overexcited, you don't start making silly mistakes and trying to press your advantage when you haven't really confirmed it. They slow down, they make sure that they have the space available, and despite losing a couple of players, they're still able to work off of it. Now again, that aggression gets punished, but Wakadia, he's ready for it. Instant trade back for 2, and it's Calyx on site for 2 of his own. It was nearly 3, but Zentaris will steal the last. And, that's heartbreak for Bait.
They can't find any consistency, and it feels like in middle, Eternal Fire are really being caught off guard when Bait do actually get aggressive. And there is, like, I don't know how Woxic doesn't realize he can be seen from short, but just individual brilliance. Like, Wicadia, Calyx, like, they are on form right now. They are shooting very hard, and Bait aren't really able to contest it right now. This is a downward spiral where, even though they did win a round, they keep one player alive, so they have no money, no ability to reinvest. But Headtrick's Hero AK could have something to say about it.
It had something to say, but unfortunately Eternal Fire very quickly bring that back under their control. AK's still in hand here, so there's still a chance for Hedrick to keep this close, keep it costly. I say costly. What is money at this point? But if they can keep this a bit tighter, try to salvage this round. To salvage it on an eco would be phenomenal. But again, they kind of slow down a bit. And while I do love the slow play, it starts to become a little bit telegraphed. Now Eternal Fire are going to know, okay, they're probably still kind of chilling out towards mid. There you go. Essential getting spotted out very early on. He will get the kill onto Woxic. And this round is getting a lot closer than anticipated.
Calyx forced to reposition as well momentarily. I think he'd already been spotted out in CT. Xantares, the talisman hit, the linchpin. He's being baited in, but Hedrick acutely aware of him. Oh, the timing. No way. Hedrick turns around at the worst time. Grenade does great damage, and this bait and switch so dastardly as Eternal Fire. Sure, it does get a little bit more expensive than they maybe anticipated, but 9-1 is looking pretty decent for them.
I've loved the way that Eternal Fire have played a lot of these like defensive setups. When you set up these like triangles, set up these like off angle, cross angle type vibes, right? So what was happening there on the site, the fact that you've got 3 people, 3 different corners calling out information. As soon as the first player gets taken down, you've got the nade to come out perfectly positioned because they have that information. And then it's just that little bit of cleanup. They're playing this so clinically, and Bait, as much as every now and then they'll find a chink in that armor to try and aggress into, they just have not been able to find anything really meaningful. Now the double AWP comes out once again, but Woxic, little too aggressive in that one. We'll see if the 2 AWPs can... No, because that was one of the AWPs. Ooh, that's rough.
Madge has been given back the AWP now. Wicadia had the early peak on short, but a very early opening kill for Bait, and we've seen them gone for a passive default like this before, and They didn't find any success. This time, though, it's looking a lot better. Good grenade in underpass. And Xantares, does he really get both hit? No. Massive frag from Headtrick. Stems the bleeding. Keeps the advantage in favor of Bait. And now, after mid-control has successfully been taken, the T-side will go and reset themselves towards this A bomb site where Calix, he's had a few multi-kills already. Same with Wicadia. They need to stand strong.
There's so little left in this half. I mean, at the very least, Bait need these next 2 rounds. They're poised here to at least get one of them. But Calix has been an absolute monster here on this A site. Has really done so well to hold it down and anchor it in position. Now as Bait starts to move in without a sound made. Calix caught looking in the wrong position and a center will immediately take him out. But he does get traded. However, not going to be enough to stop that bomb from going down. 3 versus 2. Bait in a really solid position here to maintain that control. The last 2 players from Eternal Fire, they're so split up. They either need to regroup or they need to push.
I think they're just going to try save. Like, the money is fine. I think they probably could reinvest next round, but they're realizing there's actually just, like, we're not going to win, right? You know, there was a deep smoke in CT. Madja couldn't really make any progression. And for Bait there, that was literally, like, the most perfect play they could have made in that scenario. Eternal Fire were very actively not playing in positions that could counteract a contact play, and not gonna lie, I don't think I've ever really seen it like a 4 versus 3. The whole T side are able to walk up to default without making a single noise or without being spotted, and you know, Calix was very evidently completely caught off guard. And for Eternal Fire, look, they're getting a deep apps control every round. Madja is always there, but a lot of times they're not doing anything to react with that space.
I think, despite the fact that they have managed to lose 2 rounds, I'm not too worried just yet. They've looked very strong. Oh yeah, very happy with how this has been going. 2 AWPs once again. Woxic this time not going for the cheeky aggressive play. And look how Bait are holding. They realize that aggression is the name of the game. Calix this time not going to get caught off guard by a contact play. Madja with a beautiful shot literally on the other side of the map, and Bait are getting picked apart at the seams. The last 3 players here have to make moves, but Woxic will take out one more. Both extremities just not getting any results, and the last 2 have to make a push up through mid against 4 players from Eternal Fire.
And there's 3 towards A. Woxic just not missing anything. This AWP so dynamic, constantly moving, and the bomb dropped. Captain Kirkup, 1 versus 4, double digits most certainly shall be claimed, and Eternal Fire looking flawless on their opponent's map pick. Mirage, they are relaxing, they're reclining, and
can I fight it? How can I listen when there's no sound? Oh, the wolves are out. Yes, the wolves are out. Hold on to what you found. Days that are searing. My head.
Alrighty, well, a 10-2 in favor of Eternal Fire on Bait's map pick. You know, we said we thought on paper that they were going to come out on top of this one, but it's been a little more one-sided than we'd anticipated, Freddy. Let's see, maybe Bait can bring it back here in the second half.
I really hope they do. This has been a very disappointing performance from Bait so far. This pistol round, unfortunately, because of how the first half went and the scoreline that we sit at, if Bait don't win this round, like, that could be Mirage over and we could be going to Dust2, which is a very, very scary factor when you're up against Eternal Fire. It's a good opening kill. Magic trying to fake towards B, but now here comes the smokes towards A. One player still in middle. Calyx. Sorry, Wicadia that is actually. Gets the opening kill, and now everyone for Bait is on A. They need to hold this, but Santar is doing what we know he does best, one-tapping people out of existence. And Essential, 20 HP after the first altercation in apartments. This is it. This is pretty much game over.
That's heartbreaking, man. Alex gets the first kill of the round as well, and it's starting to look like, all right, player advantage. We can make something happen here. But Eternal Fire, they've played this map so well. They've played off of each other perfectly round after round. And even that pop in through main and through Palace, they play off of one another so perfectly. Essential, so little that could be done there. And unfortunately, that's going to bring Eternal Fire up to 11. And you got to think to yourself, that's 12 on the horizon after winning that round. And then map point. How does Bait bring this back?
This is kind of what some of the best I've seen Eternal Fire play on Mirage in a long time. And I was, I guess, shaping up the conversation of, like, you've got Eternal Fire looking to return back to that, like, kind of top 10 HTV, and you've got Bait challenging, as one might add. And so far, the challenges are looking very weak, and it's looking futile. Magic holding for the underpass push. Good for the first, and there's apartments aggression from Bait. It's going to be great. They're going to get a 2-for-2 trade, but it's all the information now. Eternal Fire, no. There's maximum one player towards the A-bomb site. NPL, the leader, is a spot of bother.
Oh, MP9 overrun. And the last two players, they were the ones that came in with pistols. Managed to recover one of those guns. They're gonna have to make a miracle happen, and it's not the first time that I've said this for Bait, but that miracle just never ever comes. And now Alex, he had that first kill of the round, and he realizes now not too much more to be done in this round. Has to hold on to that weapon and pray once more for that miracle to come in our last round of this map, potentially.
The thing is like, I don't even hate what Bait did that round. Like, I think what they did is completely fine. Like, you go for this kind of gimmicky play where you send 2 underpass, 2 in apartments, but Eternal Fire, the unfortunate thing was that they had that default where I think they wanted to go, it was 1-2-2, so they had 2 players in apartments, and then the rest of the team were able to react quickly off the information that they were given in apartments and go, oh yeah, let's just go A fast now. And they were in a perfect place to do that. They react nicely. And now map points. This is our opening game for IEM Rio closed qualifier. The event will be occurring in about a month and a half. And Eternal Fire, a favorite to make it through. They are showing us why currently.
Oh, I mean, they've had such good performances against some really solid teams pretty recently this year. So to see them kind of maintaining that form, getting back to kind of what we expected, it's great to see.
Sure, yeah.
It's always great to see those like tier 2 demons, titans performing well at the upper echelons of CS. So hopefully we get to see that continue along its streak.
Well, that's what I wanted
to bait. But they're going to get through this round.
That's what I wanted to bait. Yeah, like, you know...
Yeah.
Bait have done everything to get themselves, like they've done everything right. Like, you know, their roadmap is littered with victories in these online tournaments against those better tier 1.5 teams. But right now, can they even scramble one round? Oh, he shot.
Very little. Oh, no, absolute heartbreak there. Instantly, Captain Kutka taken offline. Now the last few bait players have to somehow salvage this round. Already Eternal Fire have overrun the site, bombs getting planted, and the regress in is going to be difficult.
And Eternal Fire just dumping utility in CT. 4 players attempting to retake. There's the information. I think 3 just got spotted. It does come at the cost of Acadia's life though. Antares taking the first contact, head ripped apart, and he's done enough damage. There's no kit. Well, there is a kit actually on Headtrick, but the time is ticking down. Calyx, 5 HP. Checking that, yep, don't think anyone's on the bomb, guys. And Bates, this is a losing. Domination is the only word to describe this for Eternal Fire. 13-2 on their opponent's map pick. Wow. Wow.
Yes, I too am speechless, Freddie. We were definitely expecting a lot more fight out of Bait. I mean, I know I came into this, we were both saying like, yeah, Eternal Fire hand and punish that aggression, but most of the time, the aggression just continued unobstructed. And that's going to be a huge issue. We move over onto Dust2 now. And again, I mean, this is a very, you know, well understood map by all of our teams. It's a map that teams should be relatively comfortable on, but it is Eternal Fire's map pick. And you were saying, you know, just a little bit earlier on, this is one that Eternal Fire look incredibly comfortable on.
I think it's a map that they've always, like, kind of these players, even years ago, like, this was always a good map for them. We usually see more from Headrick, MPL, like no one on Bait. I think it's like the highest kills was like 7 or 6. Like that is in itself unacceptable. But forget about Mirage. That never happened if you're a Bait fan. We go to Dust2, Eternal Fire. They're on the T side. They want to try and, I would have thought, go B. But now they've got 4 players in middle with doors smoked off. And Bait, 2 players towards A, 2 towards middle, 1 towards B. They're in a really nice setup to react either towards A or mid.
Okay, a little bit of a smoke there. Oh man, doesn't quite bloom in the way that they would have wanted. And instantly it's 2 kills to come through for Bait, but they get traded back. Eternal Fire overrun mid so easily with so little resistance. They're already in on the B side. The bomb's going to get planted. There is a lurk in position here from Woxic. Oh, timing.
Oh.
The shots aren't connecting. Okay, Alex, we love to see that. But now 2v2 retake on the board.
And there's a kit as well. This is so winnable. Santaros will hit the first contact on doors. He falls. Calyx equally can't connect the headshot. And if you're Woxic, you're sitting there with your head in your hands, understanding that that is completely your fault.
Yeah, unfortunate one there. Losing mid so quickly, especially when you knew that was kind of where that push was coming in from. The smoke doesn't quite cover as much as you would have liked. There's that slight gap on top of the box to be able to fire those shots through, get that first pick, amazing. But instantly, the return fire is so good. Bait, it got so close to them completely losing that round and having it slip through their fingers, but a nice little recovery from them, playing off of each other quite well here. And now we see them go for a very, very aggressive push here, kind of cosplaying Eternal Fire on our previous map a little bit. Good God, NPL, that spray should be illegal.
Okay, this is starting to look a lot better. Eternal Fire, they had invested in. They got the bomb down, you know, they had the money to go for it, but they try to set up for some long aggression, and Bait are in the perfect place at the perfect time. No resistance in middle. They push up, and they have not even taken a lick of damage. It's flawless so far. And Woxic and Wicadia, I can't see them winning this round. Best case scenario for them right now would be to potentially get the bomb down. And Wicadia doesn't realize, but he actually has an open A bomb site. With a minute left on the clock, though. Maybe gets a few more frags, but the bomb, unfortunately, I can't see being planted now.
Nah. Especially because after he gets that first kill, instantly rotations start to come through. Eternal Fire, or rather Bait, realize that the site is completely open, so they move to reinforce. Wicadia getting another kill here is, you know, decent. You'll be happy to do a little bit of damage. A third would be phenomenal. But I suppose there is still a world here. Get this first kill. There you go. Nope. Instantly traded. I saw the vision. But 3 kills, not terrible for the second round.
Well, okay. It's not terrible, but that round, you know, it was just a non-starter. It's nice that Wicadia does get a bit of damage, but overall, Beta can be very happy with their performance there. Great mid aggression. A little bit surprised they did leave. I think it was Headtrick on the A bomb site, like completely by himself. Kind of surprised me that they didn't maybe rotate over a little bit more towards that part of the map. But aggression, unrelenting, and it's in the perfect place at the perfect time again. NPL, Alex. Just making a mockery out of Eternal Fire, but it is against an eco. So who, like, you know, it's great reads.
Yeah.
Very good from Bay early doors. This is literally way better. They've got more rounds already than they did on Mirage. Can they keep it up against the rifles?
Yeah, that snowball effect can really be so oppressive. I mean, it's exactly what we saw in our previous map. So for Bait, if they can keep control of this, and the fact that so many of those rounds have gone, if not flawless, damn near close to flawless, it means that they're really building up that cash for themselves, really giving themselves a little bit of wiggle room here. So it's a great turnaround, as you said, from that previous map, and hopefully they can kind of keep that momentum going. And now, I mean, we're even seeing some change-ups, right? The last couple of rounds, you see that aggression because they know that they are on far superior weaponry. This time around, they're not playing aggressive. In Eternal Fire, they're like, oh, they're probably going to play aggressive here. So they play really far back, waiting to see, you know, does this happen? And it does burn a little bit of time off the clock, so that conditioning can really make such a big difference. However, once the execute comes through, it's down to how to Bait respond. They don't have that crazy map control that they've had previously, so the rotations have to be very snappy.
Headtrick, though, in the right place at the right time. This AWP could do a lot of damage. If these flashbangs aren't chained effectively, this progression up short, if they even choose to go for it, he's going to be owning them. This is a really nice setup for Bait. Like, they are in the perfect spots. Eternal Fire, they've used a lot of utility, but now they can be diverting themselves away from that AWP, can be going towards this B-bomb site. NPL will be putting a bit of pressure in from CT. He's just flashing himself straight through smoke. Nope, he goes back, but Alex claims the first frag. Essential here to hold down the B-bomb site. And so far, it's looking pretty good for them. Wicadia does open up, though. Backstabbed. And the bomb, it's made its way through. Woxic, we've seen him here before. We've seen him on the pistol round in this exact same position. This time with the AWP. Hits the first and gets away. Bait's now terrified of that possibility.
And retaking it onto the site can be so difficult. Eternal Fire learned from their mistakes previously. They don't want to allow the same thing to slip away from them. Better positions and better spray, well, not spray control, better oppressive fire, so to speak. A great turnaround here from Eternal Fire, and it's a beautiful round to get themselves onto the board at last. A good adaptation. Loved how they changed their positioning on the site when they were going into that post plant. Bait had no recourse.
I mean, that round for me was just like Wicadia. Like, if he hadn't got those double entries, I'm not sure if they would have been able to maybe succeed in the way they did. But yeah, really nice post plants, really nice movement from Woxic after the bomb had gone down. And then obviously for Magia to finally be getting on the board. But Bait, from my perspective, they kind of did everything right that round. So they had long, they had a nice setup on B, they got the first 2 opening kills, and still wasn't enough. However, Baits still have the funds to go for a buy. Long, this time, has been claimed by Eternal Fire. So Bait, playing a little bit more towards the sites, with 3 players in and around short. Hedrick with the AWP, yet to find much success. This could be his opportunity. Oh no.
Are they rotating away? Oh, that's heartbreaking. And now Captain Kurka. Oh, Hedrick was coming to reinforce, but unfortunately gets caught out. Now Captain Kurka on the side, pushing for it. Runs straight into Xantares' bullets. Not too much more can be done there. 3 players left alive here for Bait.
Round, yeah.
I mean, there's no way. I don't think they push this. Surely not. I think at this point you just kind of, yep, pull back. Hold on to the little bit of weaponry that you do have. Okay, MP9 going for a little bit of cash farm there. I respect it.
I was gonna say, yeah, also gets the AK. But like that's such a simple round for Eternal Fire. Like they literally just take long and walk up long, taking no contact and allowing Xantares to get all the way to Goose. And it's because Hedrick was going back and forth between middle and holding shorts. He was wanting to take that full control, which he did do with, I think it was Alex and Ascenthial. Like, you know, they did take that map control, but then the issue was they did it at a point where Eternal Fire was starting to scale up long. So Xantares kind of gets away with murder there. But Bait, they do at least save the AK and the AWP. I'm not sure if they'll be able to buy around it though, because they do have a purchase in the next.
Yeah, I mean, this was also really cool from Eternal Fire. So Bait, after that previous round, they don't want to be caught out too aggressive down A long, particularly if they have to rotate over towards B. So they hold further back, but because they have no real information, it ends up kind of biting them in the backside. And now we're actually seeing a similar play from them. Okay, fair enough, it is pistols. You want to be a little bit more deathballing. You want to be able to play off of each other a little bit better. And of course, you want to be able to maybe bait for your AWP a little bit if necessary. That's going to make things a bit spicy here, particularly because where they have set up, this is where Eternal Fire are posturing. There is a world here where we could at least see Bait do some solid damage to their econ. But unfortunately, that first dink is not going to be enough to make it happen.
And this Molotov, if just put on short, basically removes the only 2 issues we have, which would have been the AK and the AWP. But look, like if Alex is able to get a multi-frag and maybe the USP gets some damage, but no, Molotov, as I mentioned, in the perfect place. Alex tries to get a bit aggressive. They also know where the AWP is. They know he is towards short, and they're not going to allow him any further damage. NPL now also alive, and around that shore. Wasn't supposed to be that dangerous, but didn't do anything.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, Bait were looking really good for the start here. I love the way that they were playing those first few rounds, but Eternal Fire, they get some guns in their hands. And they're just right back on the same form that we saw previously, just overrunning round after round here. And Bait, to their credit, they are trying to be dynamic. They are trying to respond to what Eternal Fire are doing. Now we see like this crazy aggression down long. They, you know, they want to try and stop that in its tracks, and Eternal Fire are like, nope, this time we're not going long, suckers. A really strong default here, pushing out to the extremities, trying to get an early pick off. That's great from Alex though. That could be the opener that Bait needs.
Yeah, that's really, I like the reaction from Xantares. Like, you identify that there is a lot more presence towards long than there normally is, so you're assuming that there is a bit of a gap maybe, or a chink in the armor, and look, there was. Like, Alex was kind of rotating in as that contact was taken, but he's had a great game so far, Alex. He's 10-3. I think he's already exceeded, yeah, no one got double digits for Bait in the first map, so he's already doing a lot better now. If he can continue, it could be a winning formula for the Ukrainian side. But Eternal Fire, even though they have got a man disadvantage, they're going to be going towards the A-bomb site. They faked out these short smokes before. This time they're actually going to commit off it. Hedrick, this nade is going to do so much damage, but he's in a lot of trouble, literally by himself. There will be Alex rotating in, however. Sorry, Captain Kirker from long. But wait, Hedrick, did he have it on burst? Wait, what? But he still gets the first frag. His long player removed. And Hedrick just surviving. But Eternal Fire go, actually, we don't want to try and fight that. Issue is, they're getting crunched from shore, and Calix will not be able to survive against the masses.
Such a great round from Bait there. I love that. I love that you get that early pickoff in towards mid. You're already starting those rotations to reinforce that A site. And once Eternal actually get in onto the site, you're already there. You're already waiting. Those shots connecting beautifully. And you make it out the other side with a fair number of players still alive. So your reinvest into this round isn't nearly as terrifying as it could have been. Unfortunately, opening orb shot does not quite connect. And Eternal Fire again going for a very aggressive long push here. It has been kind of read into, but despite that, the first kill will come through from Wicadia. He will get traded out, but that's going to force NPL to have to back the hell out of there, give up a little bit of that space, because they cannot afford to lose another player here on their defense.
They are playing this mid round very nice though. Look, there was that commotion in long, and they just go, okay, let's go towards middle. Let's take all of that space, and it's giving us so much information, and they might actually be pushing in behind. They were super fast in pushing short on the post plant last round, and this round, I think if NPL and Alex decide to go long, like they could completely catch Eternal Fire off guard. But for Headtrick, kind of been saying a few rounds, like this AWP has been in positions to succeed, but hasn't quite nailed these shots. And then now, it's going to be a hard one onto Xantares. His head should be revealed soon. Oh, he misses the opportunity, but there, on the second time of asking, equally does miss. Now, a Molo on short, a Senthiel jumping into the smoke on short. I think, did he not get seen? But no, he's playing a super aggressive position, where if the bomb gets down, a Senthiel could capitalize upon his cover, and he will. Now, advantage for Bait, and MPL will be able to initiate his contact from long. Woktik is holding for him. Not anymore. NPL's made his way out, and Bait, they are making the Turks very uncomfortable.
And yet somehow Eternal Fire have continued to keep it traded, but no, both of them, oh man, just caught sleeping at the wheel. That's a great recovery once again for Bait. All right, they lose a few rounds, but they start to pull things back in their favor. And what I love about it is that they're doing a lot of playing kind of either unconventional or just kind of unexpected positions, right? A couple rounds back, you had, I believe it was... who was it in mid that got that first kill onto Xantares? I can't remember exactly who it was.
I think it was NPL.
Yeah. So you get that first kill there because there was such high presence towards A, so that's
was Alex, sorry, yeah.
There you go, Alex. And then a Senthil in the smoke as well. You're not expecting him to be playing in the smoke, so he gets that double kill. So that's really what needs to come here. Bait just constantly playing unexpected and keeping Eternal Fire on the back foot.
This is a great round though. Fast up short. Eternal Fire have heaps of space, and Xantares, these entries, they have been coming in thick and fast. There's another one. They still have control of short, and they will also just be mowing down these rotations. They try and enter into the battle. Headtrick in an awful position with this AWP, but Captain Kirk from long? Wait, what? He gets 3 frags, and now all of a sudden Bait making this 2 versus 5 look very plausible. Calyx and Xantares with 28 HP combined, but Calyx comes in a very late flank. Headtrick, though, can just defuse a bomb. That's exactly what he's going to do. Xantares jumping up, Cookley style, saves the day.
That was brave. That was brave. I saw the vision. I think a lot of what goes wrong in that round is there's so much of that early chip damage. There's early chip damage through the double doors. There's early chip damage onto Xantares, even though he gets that first frag. So when Captain Kutka is working his way up long, the spray down gets so much value because you just have to get those last little vestiges of HP taken away. Sure, you got a couple of players there with more HP, but the fact that there's so many that are low, it's so much easier to capitalize off of. Unfortunately, you know, down to 1 player versus 2, probably unaware that the last 2 players are so low HP and that he can maybe take those fights, and instead tries to go for the ninja, caught out by a flying shot. I do love those flying shots. And so unfortunately that kind of gets stopped in its tracks, but it felt like that would have been a great round for Bait to come out on top of. Eternal Fire just showing so much of that tenacity again.
Yeah, I mean, a very fast playoff spawn, and I think that could be a read as well, that they are playing very heavily towards long in these last few, just because Eternal Fire were succeeding at the very beginning of the half over towards long. And now's it's a great example again of like Long. They have put loads of pressure once more, and Alex by himself. Wait, what? They don't get through the smoke. This would have, like, if they had just committed, that would have been round over. Because there was no one else even remotely near. But now, with this reset, Bait on the pistols could actually make this round work. Alex, how has he got a double? But then how has Captain Kirker equally got two coming from short? Cynthia almost spammed through the wall. It's pandemonium right now on Dust2. And this is looking a lot more exciting than Mirage.
That was crazy, especially because that first pistol shot comes through the smoke to get the kill, and Eternal Fire just don't spray it. I suppose you don't know. There's a smoke there. Maybe there's like 4 people on the other side of it, and they're all about to just run out with like Tech 9s or something crazy and mow you all down. But, I mean, that would have been a relatively free sight. They back out, and then you've got these kills coming through in mid, and it's starting to look like Eternal Fire are, like, very easily and very quickly regaining that control. But then Captain Kurka with the double, like, he's been so good at bringing those numbers back to a more doable, a more even kilter. Now down to 2 versus 2 here. And Eternal Fire still have every advantage in the world, but look how cautiously they're playing this. They don't want to be caught unawares. They don't want to be, taken by surprise. Instead, what they found now is a completely free site. Bomb is going to get planted. Bait were making their way over towards the A site. They didn't realize that it was going to be the reaggress in towards B once more. But they also went to go pick up guns. So now we have 2 M4s in hand. Can they make magic happen?
No kit is my one concern, and also Ascenthio on such low HP. He's going to drop one smoke, a progression smoke out of the door. Also forces the 1v1, but Maja, oh, okay. What decade are we in? Maja, that was a ridiculous final shot, and Eternal Fire, well, the 2 versus 2 couldn't have been done with any more flair.
And that's not even the first time that Magic gets, like, the last 2 kills on a B post plant from a very, like, similar position. He's been an absolute rock star. Similar to what we were saying about Calyx on Mirage on the A side, right? Like, you're getting this... And they're not even on the CT side. He's just playing a really good post plant anchor. Fantastic stuff from him. Not allowing that to come through at all. Oh, the nade stack! Oh my god, Woxic manages to escape just in time. A very, very low on the HP there. Bait have to take full advantage of this now. With only 2 rounds left in this half and it's full pistols, we want to see a little bit of damage here. Keep this half as close as possible.
To be fair, it's already been a very good half for Bait, just on the basis that, like, Dust2 is quite a T-sided map. So you've got Eternal Fire maybe struggling to get the advantage, but 7-5 will be fine. Like, just... I think 6-6 is going to be a very, like, well-played half for Bait. Still going to be happy with 5-7, but Eternal Fire need to be searching for this final round. Everyone on the server has a rifle. Unfortunately, though, big of lack utility on some of the Bait players and no AWP out for Hedrick, even though it hasn't been that big of a success. And Bait, very aggressive towards B. Maja, caught off guard. NPL takes all of this control, and so Eternal Fire speed up towards the A-bomb site.
Absolutely the right call here, but we do have Alex holding the line, waiting for them to cross over, and we have seen what happens when Eternal Fire doesn't adequately clear things out. So there you go, beautiful shot from Hedrick, and it is a headshot as well. Captain Kurka to follow it up with one of his own, despite the fact that the A site was so scant, the rotation was so quick to come into play. Calyx on site now with bomb, but he has to wait for a safe moment. Gonna go for the plant. Woxic trying to hold for anything coming from under. They don't realize that there's now also a flank coming from the other side. No, Woxic is on top of it. Spidey senses tingling. Ooh. Misses the shot. He needed to, at the very least, connect with that one. Now Calyx somehow has to hold on to this site. 1 versus 4. They're going to swing him, and they're going to shut him down. It's another beautiful retake here from Bait. They will get that defuse to come through, and that's going to be us going into a quick break before the second half.
a much more exciting and back and forth half. Mirage, if you were here, it was 10-2. Eternal Fire, you know, they swept Bait on Bait's map pick, but now on Dust2, the Ukrainians are having a little bit of a bite back. Eternal Fire not able just to walk away with this series, and the third map still very much on the cards. But let's take a look at this second half pistol round first.
Yeah, we saw some much better adaptations from Bait. I was saying it a little bit earlier. They tried to make adaptations on Mirage, but they were just consistently kind of shut down. This time around, however, they were actually managing to get the results that they wanted, and they've kept it very, very even. Now we move over onto their T side. They've got a strong chance here to kind of walk away with their opponent's map pick. But now, seeing a little bit of that aggression in towards mid. The first shot will connect. NPL is an absolute demon, but he's only good for 2. Wakadia with the dualies. We've seen what he can do with this gun before, and it's another 3k in his back pocket, but it's not quite enough. Calyx now has to 1v2. There's a little bit of damage that has been done onto these two players. They're going to peek 1 for 1. The first one's going to go Calyx's way. One last one to confirm the round. Calyx is a demon, a beautiful clutch, and that will give Eternal Fire the pistol.
What a crazy round. NPL, a lovely double opener, right? Like, Eternal Fire had a setup perfectly in place to counter exactly what Bait did. But NPL goes, yeah, I don't care. I'm just going to get the first 2 opening kills. Wakadia saves a day. I didn't think it was going to be enough, though. I was like, look, it's still a 1 versus 2. You know, like, Bait had done very well at dismantling this setup. However, Calyx saves it. And on Mirage, we were complementing his ability to get multi-frags while anchoring down the A site. And now on Dust2, he shows what's good. Clutches up a 1 versus 2 and Eternal Fire. They're not going to be up against a full eco. There is a scout on NPL, but apart from that, it's just full Glocks. So it's going to be smooth sailing, you'd assume so, in round 14.
A couple of nice kills from NPL gives him that little bit of extra cash. So investing into this means there's still that like little bit that he has available for the next round. It is risky either way. We'll see if it does pay off. And it's going to be going up against Woxic Scout as well. I like how Eternal Fire have taken a lot of space on the extremities. It's left mid relatively clear, but luckily for Eternal Fire, Bait opting not to push that way. Instead, it's going to be a bit of a death ball over towards B, which Eternal Fire have very cleverly opted to reinforce. Despite that head trick, a great opener there. And despite Wakadia knowing what was coming, he's only good for 1, instantly overrun, and Plant will go down.
2 rifles as well can be picked up. And it wasn't even the scout, it was the pistols that made it work. However, job's not done. Bait, can they play this post-plant? Only 1 rifle has been picked up, it appears. Captain Kirker might need to go huge here because everyone around him's dying. And Nade does a lot of damage to him. And Xantares, not even for the first time in this map, leaping through the air. Okay, mitigates any of that danger and got scary for a second. But overall, it's going to be a nice retake for Eternal Fire.
I mean it when I say that flying shots with like MP9s, Tech 9s.
Oh yeah, you can get away with it.
It's just my favorite thing to watch. It's poetry, you know? It's so entertaining. And of course, Eternal Fire are going to be feeling fantastic after that round. Yes, a little bit more pricey than they would have wanted, but they win the round. And that is the most important part of this. They're only losing 2 players. Not a massive deal here. For Bait, on the other hand, NPL, I said, right, it was a little bit risky to pull out that scout. Now there's a bit of limitation in terms of the utility, but at the very least, you've got those guns, you've got the armor, so you've got a lot to work with here. Now it's about how do they approach this round. First round was a pistol, second round was like a bit of a weird force, but mostly an eco. Now that they've got guns in their hands, we've got a little bit more of a spread. Some nice aggression taken up towards mid. They've realized that mid is relatively open, so they're looking for that early control.
Woxic out on the AWP very early on. Makes me a little bit scared for Bait. I think he's going to have loads of impact and a lot more than Headtrick was, for example. But no messing around. They're going to be going straight for this mid to B. Xantares gets 2 kills through the B doors. Wicadia holding hands with his opposition in the smoke. They're passing through each other like ships in the night. But Bait, they know he's still here. They're searching for him. And Essential has the perfect read. Now Woxic in a 1 versus 3. He has found the first and knows exactly where both players are. He also has the bomb. Oh, this is looking dangerous. Swaps over to the AK. Essential so tantalizingly low. And Woxic, he's played this perfectly for the clutch.
That is unreal to me. The fact that Bait should have won that round. They smoke off mid perfectly. They take that control. They realize that it's a weakness in Eternal Fire's setup. They push through. Xantares just sprays through the smoke. And look, a lot of that is off the back of, again, I cannot recall exactly who it was, but there's one player playing the doors towards the B site, spots that they're pushing. That's the trigger for Xantares to just spray through. The fact that he gets 2 is outrageous. But still, Bait have the control. They take that. They move in towards the site. And they just peek Woxic 1 by 1. And you cannot do that to a player like him. He wins that 1v3 clutch. And it is devastation for Bait. Because again, back down onto pistols. 1 Galil for that little bit of extra punch. But it's starting to feel like Mirage. It's starting to feel like it could just be this is where it starts to slip away.
I'm a little bit scared. I literally said at the start of the round, Woxic's going to have big impact. Headrick didn't. That's a feels good moment right there. Just, yeah, and now he's also, again, in prime position, poising for success. Xantares, this Molotov, firstly, amazingly timed. Doesn't do damage, but it will force them away, and it will force them kind of back into his grenades. He's just chipping down, making life very uncomfortable for them. Calyx, in the meantime, pushing through mid, spots out 3, and is able to decapitate 2. A reaction now back away from short isn't going to have any legs to it, and Eternal Fire, they didn't allow Bait to get anything working here in this kind of hero Galil type round. Woxic as well, the AWP still connecting. Captain Kirka, not much he can really do. And yeah, Eternal Fire cruise to a 10th.
I like the way that Eternal Fire are playing the CT as well. It's not uncommon to see a team leave B with 1 player or no players. Eternal Fire have opted to rather just leave mid open. And they trust in their ability to play off of each other from the extremities right at the top there, so that if there is movement in mid, they can set up that crossfire really early on and they can shut it down before it really starts to make a difference. And, ooh, don't worry man, nobody stopped. And that has really worked out well for them. But this time around, instead, we're going to have a very strong stack towards the A site. Could go very badly there. Wicadia will get that first one. Does get traded out. Very back and forth. Yeah, disgusting shot through the smoke onto Xantares. Now, somehow Bait have found themselves in the driver's seat. That was a 4-person stack down long and Bait just mowed through it.
Feels like, yeah, just Eternal Fire never really took the space. They were never able to actually kind of move as a collective. It was each player was having its opportunity and failing. Woxic, he would have been there to support, but unfortunately they're going to be going over towards the B-Bob site after NPL was able to catch off the rotation, and it's complete for free. Woxic, he has saved the day in a 1 versus 3 in a very similar condition, but I think in this scenario he's going to be forced to save, and Bait showing some life on the T side.
Yeah, the start to that round was just wild. And again, I respect what Eternal Fire were trying to do there, keep things unpredictable. You've got a bit of a broken buy there. There was an MP9 in the mix. It wasn't the best or the most ideal buy that you'd want to come in with. So you go for a slightly more unpredictable play. You take that aggressive push down long, and if there's no one there, you can set up a flank, or you can pull back and you can try and head them off wherever it is that they are going. Unfortunately, they kind of get caught out, and there's some really good util from Bait to continue to make that uncomfortable. Spray down is perfect, and Eternal Fire just cannot recover from that. I mean, 3 people getting lost so early on, and the last who was moving over from B gets caught out in mid. there's literally nothing that you can do at that point. So props to Bait for being able to retake control of the situation. But now things start to feel a little bit uncomfortable for Eternal Fire. They do still have cash in hand, so they're not too concerned in that regard, but it's not, again, it's not ideal by any measure. They've kind of tried to stretch that cash out as much as possible. Saving the AWP helps a lot as well. But if they lose this round, they're in big trouble. The flash is beautiful, but it's traded out.
Ooh, the utility as well is really nice. Bait kind of beating a dead horse in this round. They tried to replicate exactly what happened in the previous, but unfortunately there was no smoke on the corner. I don't know if that was an oversight from them or if they actively chose not to do that. And Eternal Fire this time, they're able to swing out, take the jewels together. Alex just kind of forced into the Molotovs. He was forced into the utility that had been dumped by Eternal Fire. And the big difference could be that all the rifles went long and Woxic was sent over towards the B-bomb site with the AWP. Now, he confirms that there is at least one player there from that lurk smoke. Goes on the back of the plateau. Mollowed. He does reposition. This is so scary, but how is Woxic able to get away with at least one there now? Putting his teammates in a good opportunity to succeed, but Captain Kirker looking to emulate his opposition. He's already found 2 in the 1 versus 3. Bomb will be planted. Maja denies, and Eternal Fire fluttered to an 11th.
I've been really impressed with Maja. Okay, he's not like on the double digits. He's not, you know, getting the same kind of pop-off value that some of the other players on the team have been getting. But I feel like in these clutch moments, he's really come up really massively. In the previous half, it was in those post-plant situations. Now again, 1 versus 3, and he somehow manages to isolate every single one of those duels and take advantage and still win it out, get that defuse. Really, really solid performance from him here. Love to see that. But this is now where things get scary again for Bait, because it's gone a little back and forth, and there've been these shining moments where it looks like, okay, the comeback could be on. But Eternal Fire up to 11 now, and winning this round puts Bait in a very tight spot.
Yeah, I mean, that round, like, Captain Kirker, I think he plays it perfectly. Like, I think just taking that duel on Maja was the best scenario, and just, unfortunately, he just misses the shot. Kind of simply put. But Eternal Fire, the favorites not only in this series, but kind of in the whole tournament, to qualify, rather, for IEM Rio, which, by the way, is stacked. It's got 7 of the top 10 teams in the world, and amongst them, there's not really a single weak link. You've so far got the best teams from each region qualifying or being invited. With KD, oh no, oh dearie me. Okay, he gets away. That flashbang landed on him, completely blinds him, and Ascenthial almost was able to react, but unfortunately not quick enough. And Bait, okay, let's go back to normality. They're defaulting, and they're looking to end towards this B-bomb site for now.
Haven't really managed to garner too much control just yet, which is what NPL is kind of trying to establish here. Shots getting fired shows that he has moved up a bit, and that smoke, it's given Wakate, or rather Zantara's, a lot of space to move up, but it's a little bit of a distraction play as now bomb starts moving its way towards B. The smoke will stall that out a little bit longer, but we're down to sub 30 seconds. The execute has to come through. Wakadia with the MP9, backed up beautifully by Calix, 2 kills apiece, and the last will come through from Maja. The backstab, 12-7. I don't know if Bait recover from this. Sure, they can string together a bye here, but it's map and series point. 5 rounds back to back is what's needed in order just to get us into overtime. Their bye isn't going to be robust by any measure. It feels like the end, Freddy.
I had very high expectations for Bait entering today and entering this game and close qualifier in general, but I don't know, it's been a pretty non-starter for them. They showed signs of life in the first half, but right there, like, Eternal Fire play the round perfectly. They have great just control of the whole map, and also they just cycle their smokes perfectly towards B doors. But it's not over just yet. Head trick, opening kill onto Wicadia. You've also got Maja very low, so he's going to be passed over the AWP. And Bait have great control towards long, towards middle, towards B tunnels. Like, they're in a very good position very early on in this round.
We've seen them allow these early advantages to slip away in the past. So now everything has to be kind of perfect. Good little bit of space denial with that utility. They do have a bit of a walk up here towards A, but it's being held with the AWP from long. All Major needs here is one good shot. If he gets caught out though, very, very low on the HP, it could be devastating. Oh, and there it is. The AWP is offline, and that's exactly what they need. But already, reinforcements have come into position. Xantares is there, sprays through the smoke. Only good for one, but instantly traded out. 2 versus 3 here. Health is dangerously low for Bait.
But look, Calyx is so fast on this flank. No one's holding for him. Calyx activates for one. Now, Walktick can swing, but they anticipate it. It's time for another clutch. Calyx, he's already done it once before, realizes there's no time for them to go towards B. They commit to this A plant, and Calyx, he's scaled up a lot. Oh, what? Alex misses the shot. Calyx nails the one tap, and look at Headtrick in CT. Spotted. Calyx needs to hit this shot. Crouching along. He can just get to the bomb. He can just defuse. This is a massive misplay from Headtrick. Calyx taps, jumps up, and succeeds. His second 1 versus 2 of the half. And Eternal Fire advance further in this qualifier.
The clutch potential from Eternal Fire's players has just been out of this world. And it must be said, Bait kind of misplay a few of those situations. They allow themselves to get isolated. They peek 1 for 1. They're not holding as well as they could